Hey, I went back in time to watch some movies that I never got to, and now I'm back here in the present time to talk about four of them. The first movie is Marty Supreme. I don't think this movie needs any, introduction. I feel like everyone knows about this movie. Yep, that's correct. It's that good. This movie was just absolutely crazy, and if you don't know, this is directed by Josh Safdie, I believe it's pronounced. And this guy knows how to create chaos in a film. If you've seen Uncut Gems, then you'll know exactly what you're in for Marty Supreme. So yeah, the story was very chaotic, very energetic. It was a very interesting story about a very flawed and pretty shitty person, really. It's also very entertaining to watch this kind of character as well. Kind of just like the Wolf of Wall Street Jordan. He's really a bad person, but you can't help but like watching what he's doing. Timothée Chalamet has done it again. He's done an amazing job with this character, and honestly, Timothée Chalamet is becoming one of the greatest actors right now. I feel like he's up and coming and just continuing to be better and better in all of the roles that he's given. Yeah, I don't know if he'll win an Oscar, but he definitely is going to be nominated. I can't see how he couldn't. Tyler Creator is also in this film and also did a pretty great job. He's very funny and energetic, and some of the scenes with him is actually my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Everyone else did a pretty good job. There was nothing really much to talk about there. The music choices was really great. I really enjoyed hearing some of them, specifically Forever Young and at the end Tears for Fears. Everyone Wants to Rule the World. Those are actually one of my favorite songs ever, really, and I do like the other song choices that really match the tone of what's going on. The pacing was, of course, out of control. It's like if you've seen Uncut Gems, that was a roller coaster that was getting faster and faster. Marty Supreme is if the roller coaster just had missing parts and was just flying off the tracks. You never knew what was going to happen next, but it was just so entertaining. I did enjoy the camera shots that were there, the symbolisms that was there, especially with the scene with the ping pong balls, which you'll know if you see it. Apparently this is based on, or loosely based on, a true story of a guy. I didn't really know too much before and after watching the film, but this movie does intrigue me, I will say. Intrigue me to learn more, that is. I want to assume this movie's message was all about not letting your ego get to you and learning how to appreciate something in life that's more important than just your main thing, but also I can see how this movie is all about achieving your goals no matter what it takes, doing absolutely anything possible. I could be wrong there, I'm not really too sure. I recently just watched it, of course. The writing is good, it's very entertaining. A lot of the characters seem like they're just naturally arguing. Like, it almost doesn't even feel like they're acting. These are just real people actually arguing. A lot of good moments, a lot of funny moments, high energy, really fun and really entertaining. There's really nothing wrong with this movie at all. You can argue that this movie is trying to glorify this kind of person, though I don't really know for sure if that's what they were trying to do. Kind of like with Die My Love, I want to say that they're just trying to be like, hey, this is what you shouldn't be doing, but I don't really know for sure, of course. Every scene flowed into each other pretty well. This movie is just high energy all the time. There are some slower moments, I will say, kind of like downtimes, but it doesn't really last that long. Yes, just a pretty great movie, and it's really one of the best movies that have come out this year. A24 did an amazing job. Timothée Chalamet did a great job. This movie will definitely be talked about in the Oscars. And honestly, I think this movie is just about a 10 out of 10 for me. Granted, I want to say maybe 9.5. Kind of like with Oppenheimer. It's really great. There's nothing wrong with this, and I really love it, but I feel like there's just something missing, and I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's because I didn't really get too emotionally attached to the characters. I don't really know for sure, but this movie is fantastic. If it's not a 9.5 out of 10, it's definitely a 10. So that's where I'm gonna settle it. You should go watch it. Up next is Dogman. Yeah, I bet you didn't know I was gonna talk about this movie. Now, Dogman, I don't even know what I should really even talk about, really. It's Dogman. If you know the comics, you know the guy who made this story, you know what you're going to get in for. Dogman isn't going to be the most revolutionary movie ever. It's pretty entertaining for a child, but for me, it's just a movie, really, where things are just happening and has an ending. It's not my cup of tea. It's not really anything that I would say is groundbreaking. The art style is pretty great. There's some good moments here and there where the art is pretty unique and it stands out. There is some moments where the camera work is also pretty great, where it gets to show off the environment. I really did appreciate the movie doing that for at least, because most animation movies don't really try that much. I think I mentioned it, but the story is pretty simple. You can pretty much tell what's going to happen before it happens. There are maybe some few twists and turns here and there, but really it's going to end the way you probably guess it is. I don't really know the original material. I never really read Dogman or Captain Underpants, so I'm not I don't really know this like story, this universe, this lore. The pacing and everything is pretty bad, honestly. Like, it really doesn't take a break for a good amount of time, but that's just what happens with these kind of movies, really. It just has to be really quick, really fast, all the time. It has to keep going. The writing is pretty fine. There's nothing really to say that stands out. It had some jokes here and there that was pretty funny to me, like the ADHD joke, and as well as the scene where one character is like, do you even know what it's like having a dad abandon you? That was pretty funny, honestly. Yeah, this movie doesn't really like take any big risks as far as anything goes. It's just really a safe Dogman movie. Like, I really don't even know what else I could even say about Dogman, really. But I will say it's not like a bad movie overall. It's just that the things in it are bad when it comes to me, like when it comes to animation and children's movies. I, of course, have a high standard for those kind of movies, and this movie doesn't really reach that standard, but there's also nothing wrong with this movie as well. It's not really offensive. It doesn't insult you, I will say. It just doesn't do anything to stand out. I think DreamWorks made a decent amount on this. I don't really know, and I think they will be making another one. I don't really know for sure. I think people will like it if you do like Dogman. There's some pretty good casting choices here. Like, voice acting was all pretty great. No one didn't do anything terrible. Yeah, it's Dogman. Like I keep saying, I don't know what else I could really say about Dogman. It is a fine, passable animation movie, and I think if you like the content or the IP, you will enjoy this movie. I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. It's pretty fine, really, nothing too insulting. Up next is Bring Her Back, and this was pretty great, honestly. This is a Australian supernatural horror film directed by Danny and Michael Philippou, I believe. And I know a lot of people saw things about this movie, and yeah, it's just that good. It's actually pretty creepy and pretty disturbing. There's a lot of times that was very scary, and it was definitely gave me a few chills. It definitely got me to look away from the screen because of how gory it was. If this isn't your kind of movie, then you probably won't like it. There really, for what I can recall, there wasn't really any times that there were jump scares. Maybe there was a few, but it wasn't like overly relying on them too much. So this movie did a good job of actually trying to be a horror and creepy ass movie. The acting is pretty good. The two main characters who plays the step brothers and sisters did a pretty great job. Sally Hawkins is also in this movie, who you might know from The Shape of Water. She also did a pretty great job. I think her character and her story behind her was pretty well done and very believable. There's a lot of things that happen in this movie that don't really get explained for a good amount of time, but if you do a little thinking, then it all will make sense. There were some nice camera shots here and there. I think the pacing was pretty great. The atmosphere around the whole movie was also pretty great. Like, it definitely got you in the vibe for a spooky movie, and you definitely know some shit was gonna happen. There's definitely some moments in this movie that took a crazy turn, and there's going to be some moments that you probably don't expect. Like, don't expect like a generic ending. This movie has a pretty crazy ending, especially with how it's conducted of everything. Like, every movie has a whole like, oh, how is this thing happening, or how is this like mysterious thing happening. Like, it gets explained, and it is a very disturbing and creepy thing. Now, I know I'm being very vague because I really want everyone to be as like blind as possible when watching this movie. It's really just that great. I think they did a good job with representation as well. One of the main characters, Piper, played by Sora Wong, I believe she is also partially or is blind. I'm not too sure. I like how they had her in this movie, and they showed like how her life is with everything and her disability, and we even got to see some like activities that she could still be a part of. It was just really cool to see things like that. Like, I really did appreciate it. This movie also has a lot to say with its story, mainly with mental health and like trauma and like bad experiences, like growing up and all that. I'm probably oversimplifying it and probably not saying the right things, I don't know. But it has a very good plot, a very good message. I think it's pretty good, honestly. There's going to be some times where you're scratching your head thinking like, oh, how's this going to happen? Or how's everything going to work out? It definitely does build up to this crazy moment. Like, things don't just happen out of nowhere. Like, things progressively get worse for the characters, and I think it does a good job with being engaging as well. There's some good chemistry with the characters. Piper and Andy did a pretty great job acting off of each other. Their performances really were believable, and I was very, very impressed with them. There's a few times where it may be a little cliche and like, oh, that happened, but there really isn't that much. Like, it's not going to overtake the movie. Like, you are going to be surprised. So yeah, if you have time, go ahead and watch this movie. It's pretty great. It's pretty scary, and yeah, I liked it a lot. And there really isn't a lot of times where horror movies like really are this good. So yeah, I think it's great. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8 on another day, but for now it's a 9. And last, there is the Phoenician Scheme. This is a Wes Anderson movie, and by that name alone, you probably know what you're going to get into when you watch this movie. I will say, out of all the movies that have come out this year, I think the Phoenician Scheme is a very well done movie. It's really great. Though Wes Anderson is kind of an acquired taste for a lot of people, especially for me. His movies can be a bit dry, but also just very grand, I will say. I don't want to say that like as if it's a bad thing, but it's very hard to like get into a Wes Anderson movie. I can really like the little moments here and there. Now, of course, this movie is still amazing. There's some amazing camera shots as per usual, good settings, good lighting, good color usages, good color schemes. I think I said that, I don't know. And I think the best part of this movie is its writing. It's a very funny movie. It's a very interesting movie, and it's really one of those movies where you gotta really be paying attention to understand what's the true purpose and meaning of it. I've also never watched most of Wes Anderson's movies because I'm only like getting into a lot of films nowadays. But this is like, as far as I know, the first main movie he's made that I've watched. I know I do plan on watching more of them, and I do think if you do like Wes Anderson, you will like this movie. Like I mentioned, the story is pretty great. It's a pretty interesting one about a man who wants to make good in his life by pulling off a great scheme to ensure that his legacy lives on through his daughter. And his daughter is also a very interesting character, played by Mia. I'm not gonna say that. You know who I'm talking about. And the main character, played by Benicio del Toro, did a great job as well. Of course, he's a very great actor. He pretty much does a great job in anything he does. And there's just so many other great actors that are in this movie, or at least notable ones, like Benedict Cumberbatch, there's Scarlett Johansson, Michael Cera, Richard Ayoade, I don't know how to say that, Tom Hanks, Bill Murray, Rupert Friend, Riz Ahmed, Bill Cranston, Hope Davis, Jeffrey Wright, and William Dafoe. There's a lot of people in this movie. This is a very stacked movie, and I think everyone portrayed their character very well. I especially like Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston's characters. They were pretty funny. Benedict Cumberbatch's character was also pretty funny in this movie, especially towards the end. So yeah, it's funny, well-paced, a pretty interesting, a very unique movie, I will say. It's also just very dry at times. Like, I can see a lot of people just seeing this and thinking it's a bit boring, and there are times where I do think it's sort of that way, but like I mentioned, these types of movies are like acquired taste, I feel like. Like, it's not going to be the most engaging movie of all time. It is one of these movies where you do have to pay attention, kind of like a slow burn, but not totally. But again, I don't want to say those things and make it sound like it's the worst thing ever. It's an amazing movie, honestly. It's really good, really. It's just not for me, and that's why I can't really say much more than that. Everything else in this movie was just pretty fine, I will say. It's not like something I'm going to be thinking about too much, but I did enjoy it for what I watched. If you like Wes Anderson, you're going to like this movie. And I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I feel like that's fair. So yeah, those are some movies, and I'll talk about more soon. And yeah, guys, everyone have a great rest of your day.